You're muted.
Okay, hi everyone. Let's get started with this workshop, Intro to Market Analysis. I just want to introduce the speakers for this workshop, Hamad and Anmol. They're the founders of Genzup, which is a marketing consulting company that targets Gen Z and youth, and I'll just hand over the presentation to them now.
All right, can you guys see us? Everything's all right?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so hello everyone at Nova. I'm Hamad and this is Anmol right here. We just wanted to give you guys some insight. We run this workshop on market research and how we can kind of accelerate your market research initiatives. So we'll get right into it. Can everyone see the screen all right?
Yeah.
All right, so market research. So what is market research and why would you do market research? How do you conduct market research? These are kind of the questions that we're going to be outlining throughout this presentation to help your understanding on how you can use market research in your own startups and your own entrepreneurship journey or whatever else you could possibly use this on, because it's very it's something that can be applied to a lot of different situations. So what is market research? Market research is the gathering and the analysis of specific information. Sorry, just gonna minimize that. So information for the purpose of gaining insight or to assist in making better decisions. So why would you want to do market research? Market research, the reason behind market research is three main aspects. It's proof of viability, business planning, and to answer a question. Also, just a disclaimer, you guys can feel free to take notes and make sure that you guys are kind of, just in order to make sure that you guys are understanding all the information and kind of keeping track, because there's going to be a few important key things that you guys might want to take down for your own initiatives. So moving forward, so proof of viability. Proof of viability is used in order to access funding. Market research acts as the logic behind your business. So kind of why you're running the business and a key understanding on how you're going to pitch the business when you're trying to acquire funding in your various ventures. Business planning. So market research can be used for understanding a new landscape in the planning or process of a new venture or a project, and to answer a question. When a business has a problem that it needs to solve, there are questions that arise. Market research can be employed to answer these questions, and just basically to help in making informed decisions for your business so you don't waste resources or time. To help you prove success and also help you in pitching, funding, and etc. when you're trying to explain your company to someone else. So some quick notes on four main principles of kind of acquiring market research. So there's primary research, and that's research that is collected and analyzed by you. There's secondary research, where research that is collected and analyzed by anyone else, a separate company or outside data that you are acquiring. There's quantitative data, where you're expressing a certain quantity or amount in range. And this focuses mainly on numbers. So quantity, meaning focusing on numbers, and qualitative data, which is used to gain an understanding of underlying reasons, opinion, and motivation. So this is kind of focused on words. So how do you conduct market research? Now, we've kind of broken down 6 different steps into how you would go about conducting market research. Each of these steps kind of constitute 2 very important key questions that you want to not only ask yourself, but the other members of the organization as well. So determine your business objective, determine your market research objective, determine information requirements, determining your methodology, planning, preparing, and executing, and analyzing for insights. So to begin, business objectives. Some questions you might want to ask yourself in order to clarify your own business objectives is, what stage is your business at and what does it need to get to? Think about your mission and your annually, quarterly goals. For those of you that kind of might be confused when I say annual or quarterly, annual would be every year, and quarterly would be dividing that year into 4 quarters. So quarterly would be just that one section of the year. And so 3rd quarter, this is what I want to accomplish, and so on and so forth. You want to ask yourself questions like, do you need funding? Do you need to plan or enter a new market with your already started business? Are you starting a new business, or are you expanding? Are you trying to innovate, or are you trying to adapt to the markets? And what is your business trying to accomplish? So these questions kind of constitute to understand your business objectives. which will give you a clearer path on how you want to go about your market research. So I've prepared a bit of an example for you guys. So Sunny's Lighting Company, their business objective is to increase profit margins by 20% by breaking out of the current mass market and serve a niche market in the lighting industry by 2021. As you guys can see, it's very, very detailed, very specific in terms of what their goal is, with percentage and with a goal and exactly when they want to accomplish this goal. So next is your market research objective. So questions you want to ask yourself when framing your market research objectives would be, what does my research hope to accomplish? What questions do I hope to have answered? Is in its final state, what will my market research tell me? And does my market research objective tie into my business objective? Business objective and market research objectives kind of correlate parallelly, where it's very easy to kind of confuse each other. And that's exactly why I pose these questions, in order to kind of clarify your understanding. So what does my research hope to accomplish, and how does that contribute to my business objective? Is kind of how you'd want to do that. So an example, just to clarify a little bit more, is a question that the lighting company, the example of the lighting company would be to determine which niche market to go after in the lighting industry. And then more specific than that could be to determine the correct products, services that appeal to the niche market once you've understood your niche market. So that's kind of what a market research objective would be, as opposed to a business objective.
Hey,
Yeah, you can go on, sorry.
You can go ahead, is everything all right?
yeah, I think in the chat box, some of the participants were asking if you could slow down a little.
Sure. There's a bit of a time
We'll
constraint
share the
here.
presentation at the end after.
Yeah, if you'd like, I'd be happy to share the presentation as well, but I'll slow down a little bit. Information requirements. So that's the third step that I want to talk about. The camera, everything is all right, right? It should be. Don't worry about that.
It was just the speed, but everything else is fine.
Perfect. All right, so information requirements. So questions you'd ask yourself in order to clarify your information requirements. So a question you would ask would be like, in order to meet my market research objectives, what information do I need? Do I need any information on my own industry? Do I need any information on my competitors? Who are my competitors? Do I need any information on my customers? So an example could be, for the same lighting industry, current lighting industry trends and opportunities. So this is information that could help me make informed decisions. The different markets that my competitors are currently serving. And then some more information could be potential niche markets and customer needs in the lighting industry. So these can kind of help you frame your marketing initiative as well, because you're gaining information that will kind of help you derive better goals and a better pathway on how you want to go about your marketing strategy. So just to review so far, so you guys are following. Just the example, so the business objective of the lighting company is to increase profit margins by 20% by breaking out of the current mass market and serving a niche market in the lighting industry by 2021. And then the market research objective of this company is to determine which niche market to go after in the lighting industry and determine the correct products and services that appeal to this niche market. Next is methodology. Methodology, it might sound kind of scary and it might sound a little bit confusing, but it's very, very simple. It's basically just, how can I collect the information that I need? I know that in this age of social media and Google Forms, it's very, very easy to conduct things like primary research. So an example of primary research could be survey. So in terms of the lighting company, surveying current lighting customers, you can ask them questions about your product, other products, services, and how they can improve. You can really gain some important information through this, through primary research, such as surveys. And then there's in-person interviews with current lighting suppliers. If you guys remember, primary research is just research that is gathered by you. So these are just some examples on how you could go about doing that. So in-person interviews with current lighting suppliers, gaining very, very useful information on how to proceed. And then secret shopper phone calls with competitors. So calling your competitor and seeing how they go about your call, how they go about answering your questions, and kind of how they operate as well. Information that could be very useful to you. Now, secondary research could be through something like a case study. Obviously, you guys might know, just because of the prior information on Nova. I know that you guys are doing case studies and stuff like that. So McKinsey is a consulting firm, and many consulting firms. I know Deloitte has their Deloitte Analyze, where they have publicly available data on various companies, various industries, financial technology, and whatnot. That give you very, very important information on what the trends are in the market right now and kind of what's going on.
I do that in my free time, where whenever I'm free, I go on to Deloitte Insights and I look through, okay, what's this company doing? What's going on with this? And it really helps with making informed decisions moving forward, regardless if it's for your company, it's for your own personal issues. It's pretty important. Moving forward, Canadian consensus, you can get some really good information from there, and competitors' websites. The websites are used to kind of portray and publicly show your what your company is about, how you're moving forward. A lot of companies also have, like in the stock market, all the companies are publicly traded. And companies tend to put a lot of their information, the news insights, new things on their website so that you can look at their balance sheets and you can look at how well the company is doing, how they're doing this and that. And very, very specific data that can help you make your informed decisions when moving forward with your market research. Next is just planning, preparing, and executing. So you want to use a keen eye. So questions you want to ask yourself in this stage is, do I know the reason behind every question that I ask? Is there a purpose of the question that I'm asking? Because oftentimes we trail off to kind of conclusions that aren't aligned with our goals, and that's honestly wasting time and resources when really you could be getting very, very solid outcomes out of what you do. So are these the best questions I should ask? Who are the people that I will speak to? And is there a software that can help me organize this? Now, I just listed a few here that might be useful to you guys in terms of your own market research. SurveyMonkey.com, as I mentioned before, Google Forms, it's also pretty great in terms of how many students use it as well. Qualitrix and Typeform.com. All of these are very, very useful in planning, preparing, and executing. Now, analyzing for insights. So that's the information that you've collected, and look for trends and gaps with a very, very critical eye. Is there any obvious data points? For example, 85% of customers prefer a light dimmer over a light switch. This example would be kind of, if you guys know what a light dimmer is, it's just you control how dim the light is over a light switch. And you see that data and you're able to make informed decisions from that. Are there any words, phrases, terms that are very repetitive? So energy efficient, solar energy, if these kinds of things are coming up, okay, now you know where to track your business and where to really hit those key points of what your customer wants. Does there seem to be a desire that is common? Does there seem to be a desire that is common in the data? Some clients kept complaining about forgetting to turn off the lights. So that's kind of, you can get that from feedback usually. When you deliver a service, oftentimes companies, they would say, would love to hear from you, would love to hear your feedback. And the reason behind that is not just so they can just hear your feedback, it's to improve their product or service. They see that, okay, look, this is the gap that people are facing and this is how we're gonna fill it. But you wouldn't know that gap if no one's giving you insights. So in terms of that, you can also find that publicly as well. So some more methods of analysis. I'm sure some of you might be familiar with SWOT analysis. Don, you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure. So SWOT analysis is very, I'm sure some of you have heard about the SWOT analysis before. So it's kind of just a simple breakdown. Because if you look at the blue on the strengths, it's kind of internal. So you'll notice the internal, external signs on the left side, and helpful and harmful on the top. So internal and helpful is strengths are something that you can control yourself. Within your organization, within your initiative, you can control that yourself. Same thing with weaknesses. So and it's harmful for your business or for your initiative. So for weakness, for example, it can be that your team is not as strong as it could be. You can make changes in your team, so stuff like that. And the external, for example, the opportunities, you can reach out these opportunities. So it could be, for example, the government of Ontario, they're looking for a company to supply them with bikes. Now you're a youth organization that's been, making bikes. Now that could be an opportunity that you can reach out for, right? So now, for example, harmful, it could be in threats. It could be that, now you're a small organization making these bikes. Now Apple starts making bikes, very similar bikes, and that's something that you can't control. You can't control Apple from making these bikes, but it's a threat. That's something you can't control, so it's external. So, for example, look at strengths. What is your company good at? What are your key strengths that, what gives you advantage? What do your customers love about your company? And then weaknesses, what is your company bad at? These are questions that you have to ask yourself. What are your customers complaining about? These are questions that you really have to ask yourself, and then, kind of expand on these yourself. And then opportunities kind of go, like, for example, like I said, the political, geographic, stuff changes. There could be tornadoes. it could be like COVID, for example. It happened. This very external is something that no one could control. It just happened. No one had control over it, and we're adapting according to that, right? So, and same thing. Threats, political. It could be anything that could cripple the company. It could cripple the entire world, like it has, like COVID has. So these are just questions that to think about yourself when you're working on your idea. So let's do this now. So if you guys want to do a SWOT analysis for 10 minutes, let's break out into little sessions. Do a SWOT analysis on your own initiative or your business, your idea, or if you don't have exactly what you're doing right now. And then you can choose. You can just work on Apple or like a mass manufacturing company, or just let's like a product of your choice and kind of just do a one on that, and then we'll connect back in 10 minutes.
How's that sound, guys?
Sounds good.
Good. All right. So let's break you guys
Okay,
into.
how many breakout rooms did you want me to break them into?
It
There's
depends on
24 people, so maybe
I want
6
2
groups.
Okay.
And then the 3 of us would be in a group too.
All right, so I'm just going to send into the message box what the SWOT analysis is again. Do repetitive phrases help? How do you manage the confidence? We'll answer those in a second. So strengths,
They've been made.
weaknesses, and that's.
Okay, if you haven't already, please join the breakout room.
Imtisal, you're muted if you're saying something.
Hey, someone, MK maybe. Did you guys see the message in the chat where I sent the strengths, or can you not access that from the breakout groups?
Yeah, they couldn't access it, but
Yeah,
I
everyone
think
had
we
access?
could go through it as a group because I think it needs to be a little guided at the beginning.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, actually, I see like someone Airbnb gang. Do you guys want to share what you guys were talking about? I think you guys are like a little fun.
Yeah, we were talking about the Airbnb in our breakout room, and it was fun.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
awesome. It was like we're thinking about how like Airbnb has we're thinking about strengths, and they have a lot of good strengths, like low barriers into starting your own, pretty much your own business, right?
100%.
And yeah, they're just basically being a middleman to motivate your own business, but like there's limited weaknesses and there's limited threats of from other competition, because there's really no one that can offer the same price point as Airbnb. So yeah, it was a super fun talk. Absolutely.
Good. 100%. Airbnb is like, I wouldn't say it's a monopoly, but it's definitely leading. It's not worldwide just yet. Like I was looking at it, and there's like Airbnbs in France, and there's Airbnbs like in places all around the world. It's like it's getting there. But I went deep into like in Innisfil, and there was like it's a less developed area in Barrie, yeah. And then there wasn't many Airbnbs, so it's like, as you said, it's kind of the middleman in terms of people that own property and stuff like that. And I guess it's a trend. They do have a lot of strengths and weaknesses, and it would take a lot more time than just 5 minutes for you guys to get a depiction of that. But I think that you guys did a good job so far. And then
Anyone
we
else
did
wanna share something?
McDonald's. So Liz, do you wanna share kind of what you guys had? I think her name is Liz. She shared it to everyone.
I wasn't sure.
We did
Is Liz
McDonald's.
connected? Can she hear us?
Like how to apply SWOT.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. SWOT analysis, we didn't expect you guys to understand it right off the bat. But the only way, you guys can hear us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, like understanding SWOT analysis right off the bat would be like too much of an expectation. I wanted to just get that across to you, because SWOT analysis is something that's used in industry every day, like not every day, but in almost everything, where you're analyzing and kind of comparing strengths and weaknesses, not only to yourself, but your competitors as well. It's like, okay, look, what are their strengths and weaknesses? But it's something that takes a lot of time to grasp your head around. The only way that you're going to understand it, or understand where you're lacking the knowledge for it, is when you execute it. And you're like, okay, look, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats sound simple, but now that you implement it, you're like, okay, wait, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. So then you kind of know where that learning gap is and where you want to learn it. So I think that everyone here should probably, if you're looking into going into business and entrepreneurship and kind of the STEM field, SWOT analysis is something that could be very, very useful in making key decisions. So if you don't quite understand it right now,
It's not like, for example, if you're just talking about McDonald's, it could be like, for example, their strength could be the key recipe that they have that none of the competitors have. So if someone wants to come and get that recipe, they have to go to McDonald's, or like their junior chicken. Now they're like Burger King has.
Who else makes the junior chicken?
Right, so like their branding is very nicely done. The opportunities that they have are they're everywhere. Right, so this could be external, but external, for example, it could be like a threat could be that Burger King steals one of the recipes, like very similar, like the pork pies, the chicken burger.
Taking off like crazy. The industry poses something like new entrants, and something that a new company is starting to make something similar to your brand. That could be a threat to your market, stuff like that. So I have the questions right here in terms of what you would look for. So I sent in the chat for anyone that wants to make notes. I'm sure you guys can see it. So if someone can't see that, then let me know and I'll send it again. But the questions in terms of strengths: what is the company good at? What are key strengths he uses and what gives an advantage? What do customers love? Opportunities are external, political, geographic, economic, social changes. So geographic or economic changes could be that the market crashed. You can't see? Maybe scroll up. Let's see here. Okay, how about I share my screen and I'll show you guys. That might work better. Just give me a second. So if you guys want, just take a picture of this.
We'll send the presentation after.
And we're also sending the presentation so you guys can review it later.
There's a lot of ways.
There you go. Can everyone see?
Awesome.
Missile, can you just give me an update on how long we have? Hasn't been a long time, but
Around 30 minutes.
perfect. Okay. So we'll have some time for discussion in the end for questions, and I'd love to answer them. So yeah, again, I'm going to be sending this to you guys, so don't get scared if you don't have everything down. We'll move forward. So the next thing I want to kind of talk about with you guys is competitive analysis. It does go again under the last step of market research. It's one of the last steps. So company profile. So company profile. So what is the history of the company? What are its current objectives? What is it focusing on? What are the current strategies that they're employing, and what are they capable of doing? So this is competitive analysis, meaning you're looking at your competition. So again, like let's look at McDonald's, for example, like you said, and McDonald's is going to look at Burger King. Okay, what is the history of Burger King's company? What are their current objectives, and how do they kind of align with mine? What is it focusing on? What are the current strategies that they're employing, and what are they capable of doing in the near future in terms of their business? Now, marketing profile. So who is their target market? Is it similar to yours, or is it different than yours? Could you maybe tap into their target market? What is their current market share? What market do they kind of control? What is their current market share, and what is their current marketing strategy? How do they reach out to their customers? How do they get people into their restaurant? How do they get their brand awareness like in a paramount way, where whenever someone thinks burgers, someone thinks French fries, someone thinks nuggets, it's McDonald's. How do they do that? Now there's also a product and service profile. So product and service offering. So what kind of products and services are they offering? And how does that differentiate from your own business or from your own products and services? Pricing and cost. What's their pricing and cost model, and how can you compete with them? Oftentimes you'll see like gas stations that are right across from each other, and you'll see that one's 99 cents and one's $1. But they'll always be like playing with each other and stuff like that. I don't really know how that goes, but that's kind of an physical example of how your competitor pricing and cost could contribute to your own. And distribution channels. How are you distributing your services? How are you distributing your product? How are they getting their burgers? And is it vertical integration where they have their own farms, or is it that they have a company that supplies them with the materials that they need? So kind of understanding those channels of your competitors could help you derive a better channel for yourself, or you can implement a similar strategy. Oftentimes, though, with your competitors, you want to analyze them not to copy their strategies, but to maybe better implement some of their strategies, innovate on their strategies and adapt to current markets, or just kind of understand them and see how you can go around what they're doing to attract a different niche market. For those of you that might not know what niche is, sorry, I didn't really explain, but niche is just a specific market that you'd want to target. So there's a group of people. Now, McDonald's would target people that eat food, right? People that are hungry, just the general market, people that eat, right? But a niche market could be vegans, people that only eat, they refrain from meat and meat products, stuff like that. So that's what a niche market would kind of be. And then there's also competitor SWOT. So just like the SWOT analysis that I explained to you right now that you do on your own organization, your own business, or even just yourself, you can do what are my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You can do this on your competitors as well, where you look at your competitors and see what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what their opportunities are, what their threats are. And this generally can be done, as I said before, from publicly available data. So you can look at their websites, you can look at their Instagram, which is huge. Like, people are always talking about exactly what they're doing on their Instagrams. If you want to know about a company, you go on their Instagram, you'll find out so much stuff, right? And then kind of developing a SWOT analysis, because oftentimes just thinking about things, you'll get off track and you'll get different ideas in your head versus going down and making a SWOT analysis with specific ideas and specific points. So I really, really, really recommend SWOT analysis when you're doing your market research or any business type research at all. Now, ERRC Canvas, it's a bit, it is quite important, so I will kind of explain to you, but it doesn't apply to every single situation. So it's kind of eliminate, raise, reduce, and create. So Eliminate is there anything you currently do that you don't have to do anymore? So can you refrain on some of your services? Can you refrain on some of your products? Like for example, for the electric company, it's color changing light bulbs. We have low sales in this. Our customers don't care for it, and other competitors own the space already. So why should we keep selling the same product, right? Let's take that out and let's push our efforts into something more sustainable, more adaptive, and innovative. Raise, is there anything you currently do that you should be doing a lot better? So rush shipping. So since the cost of our shipping is low, and because our customers order online when they need lighting, we should have Amazon style speed in our shipments. Reduce, is there anything you can currently do that you should be doing less of, right? It's similar to then you don't have to do anymore. It's kind of, hey, look, we're pushing a lot of kind of innovation, kind of efforts into this specific sector. Do we really need to do that much for this sector, or can we branch out and use this effort elsewhere? Light switch upsells. 85% of our customers prefer dimmer because it gives them more control. We do not have to push this as hard because people already consider it. We can put our efforts elsewhere. And then finally, there's create. Is there anything new you can do to create a tremendous leap in value? So how can you innovate, right? I use that word so many times, innovation, because things are always changing, and you really need to adapt to markets, to what's going on, if you want to thrive in today's industry, right? So an example would be auto dimmer bundle. People always forget to turn off their lights. We can bundle a device that can be programmed to dim and turn off the lights during certain times. That would be huge. That's innovation, right? So those are just kind of the thought process on which you can kind of analyze your own efforts and your own initiatives, and to kind of tailor them into specific areas to provide the most possible value, reduce the most possible resource, and reduce the most possible costs, right? So everyone's cool on that? Hope so. Now, developing your customer avatar. So this is an important step in understanding your customer, right? So what are your customers' aspirations and values? What do they want from your product, and what do they want from this world, from what you can provide them? So what are their goals and values? Then there's the challenges and pain points. So what hurdles do your customers have to overcome in terms of their market? And then there's objection and roles and purchase processes. Are they hesitant about any aspect of buying, price, or kind of the competition in terms of, why would I get this product when this exists? Or do they make the final purchase decision? Are they able to just grab that item mindlessly and put it on the counter the way people do with like chewing gum, for example, where they just see gum and it's like, I need gum, and they just put it down, similar to that, right? And then there's sources of information. Where do they collect and evaluate relevant information? So where do the customers generally go for their marketing needs? Like, are most of your customers? So one way to do this would be trying out different things, right? So right now there's so many different marketing funnels. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's so much with the digital transition, digital marketing. And the upside to that is the fact that you can track your sales, you can track where you're getting the most leads from, stuff like that, right? So where are my customers seeing us the most? Or where are my customers seeing burgers the most and fries the most? And where can I really tap into so that I can get the most out of it? Which is where you'd understand your source of information. So that kind of concludes the entire presentation in terms of market research. You can connect with us at Genzup in our Instagram, on our Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can connect with me personally on Instagram, and connect with Anmol personally on his Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I hope that we were able to kind of contribute to your understanding on market research, and I'm aware of your competition, so I hope that you guys are successful with that, all in your own ways, and you guys are able to derive the most possible information. In terms of Instagram, we're always posting. We're looking for interns all the time, internship, and people that can kind of help us out in terms of our small initiatives and stuff like that. So give us a follow and keep your eyes up for those type of opportunities for you guys. And honestly, it comes down to just the impact that we're making. We want to help out as many people as we can, and kind of contribute to the most innovation in the coming years. Because I know that this digital age, like they're going to start teaching coding in like grade 1. That's what I heard, which is pretty cool considering where the world is going. Stuff like that, but it doesn't really have to. I mean, I was explaining in my breakout group to, I believe it was Divik, and he said that he wanted to go into the financial sector. He's interested in finance, yet he doesn't really like technology. And the thing with that is that technology is kind of adapting into every single industry. So having some sort of connection with technology would really help you in terms of your growth and your own innovation. So yeah, let's answer some questions now, if you guys don't mind. That was me, not the other guy I mentioned. Zubin, sorry, I'm so sorry, Zubin. Yeah, I'm usually good with names. Zubin is the guy, the celebrity. Yeah, so if you guys want to shoot us any questions, go ahead. No, we can just keep it there if anything.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't want to keep talking about McDonald's?
Yeah, we can talk about McDonald's. You like?
There. Those ones? Yeah.
I sent questions at the top.
She's talking about these, the McDonald's thing.
No, I remember what she's talking about. I saw it before. How do repetitive phrases help? How do you manage confident or visual aspect of it? As in, how do you appear charismatic to match your words? So do repetitive phrases help? So there's no, I'll just tell her a little bit about bias, right? So whenever you're collecting, so everyone can hear me all right? I know that she's frozen. You guys are good? Chelsea's frozen, so can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, perfect. So to answer Liz's question, thank you for asking the question, Liz. And that was before the question stage. So I'm glad that you were paying attention and asked that question. So do repetitive phases help? So when gathering data, when doing things like primary research, generally surveys or interview questions, you want to kind of in that aspect, you want to kind of refrain from repetitive phrases. What happens is the human brain, oftentimes what happens is that if we repeatedly hear the same thing, our brain gets lazy and gives similar answers. So if we're asking someone about our processes or something that we need some input on something, and we continuously ask them similar questions, they're going to continuously give similar answers. You want to try to, that's what develops a bias, right? So now you're not getting accurate input from the person that you're asking questions from. So each question should generally be very, very different. Not very, very different, but somewhat different, so that you can get a specific or a more helpful input from them. So how do you manage confident or visual aspect of it, and how do you appear charismatic to match your words? So appearing charismatic to match your words, I feel that personally, and I feel like this can also apply to everyone else, it comes down to emotion as well. So are you passionate about what you're talking about? Are you passionate about, you have to be passionate about what questions you're asking and what you really want from them. I mean, not caring about what you're saying and not caring about the input of the other person and not showing empathy, which is a huge word. Empathy meaning putting yourself in the other person's shoes. You won't get the right inputs because you're not showing that charisma. You're not really showing them that you care. So if you want to appear charismatic and you want to match your words, you want to show them enthusiasm as well, and you want to really care about what you're asking them. I hope that answers your question. And thank you again for your question. What's the best way to go about a marketing strategy for a startup, like just from scratch? So the entire presentation will be sent to you to answer that question, but I can kind of go over it in the gist of it. What's the best way to go about marketing strategy for a startup, just like from scratch? So.
Yeah, so it's kind of like so we kind of just focused on, so research is part of like the first step for marketing. So this presentation kind of touched up on understanding your market, kind of, you know, why you're still developing the product, to kind of help understand that, you know, what your customers kind of need, you know, where your competition is, what kind of exists currently for the product that you're working on. So in terms of marketing, we didn't touch upon that a lot, but for example, when you're doing your research, you're doing your primary research, you're talking to all these people, it will be good to kind of just reach out to them first, right? They may be, you know, if someone was like, you know, that's a sick product, I would totally buy that. That could be your first person to kind of reach out to. Maybe they could be the first ones to buy your product, right? So in terms of, aside from that, it's kind of just, you know, like simple stuff. Start a social media page, start posting on that, start messaging people, start kind of understand what your market is. Like if you're trying to reach out to, you know, if you're making diapers for babies, you're not going to reach out to babies, but you will reach out to new parents, right? And the technology out there is crazy. You can simply just put in Facebook ads for new parents, and you can reach them like that. So
very, very target market. But
right, so
she was asking, I think she phrased that after the research stage. So
After the research stage, you want to, as I said before, you want to analyze all the information that you've gathered, right? Before your research stage, before you start it, I said that before, you should really know what you want to accomplish from your research. You shouldn't just blindly go in, okay, look, what are my you want to know exactly what you want to accomplish from your market research, so that your path is kind of clear on you're kind of filtering all the information that you get, right? So after your research stage, you want to look at all the information that you have, and then you want to implement the best possible marketing strategy. So there's, as I said before, there's you can do primary research, secondary research, stuff like that. Which one would work better for your certain scenario, right? You should know that by the end of your market research. So after that market research, it's time for implementation, right? And what is actually, yeah, that's fine. So that's exactly what you should do. So kind of look at the information that you've gathered, and after understanding your market, you'd know how to go about achieving your marketing goals. If you want more elaboration, you can ask a more specific question. But thank you for your question again. So what exactly does Genzup do? So Genzup is generally, it's a consulting firm, digital consulting firm as well. No worries, you're very welcome. But so we help brands and we help businesses kind of tailor their marketing efforts and kind of tailor their initiatives towards youth, right? Because the basis of this business, generally people start businesses based on money, right? They want to increase revenues, they want to be a millionaire, they want to live the high life, American dream, blah, 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 right? But oftentimes what people generally don't realize is that you have to really care about what you do in order to succeed in it. And it comes down to caring about people, right? So at Genzup, it's more so how can we help people and how can we help youth? That's part of the reason why we're also here. How can we help you guys, start your own initiatives and take things into your own hands? Obviously, you guys don't, a lot of you, I was talking to Zubin before, and it's like, I don't really know what I want to do, right? I don't really know what I'm interested in. That's 100% normal. I didn't know what I wanted to do until I don't even know what I want to do, right? But it's kind of, the more you experience, the more you go out there and the more you talk to people, it kind of funnels it. And you kind of understand what you want to help out with, what you want to kind of, you know what I mean? You kind of want to be involved in. So that's kind of what Genzup does. We help you guys make those decisions, and we also help brands kind of tailor their marketing efforts towards youth. So good resource, sorry, I think I should repeat it. Good resource to learn more about business. Good research to learn more about business. I mean, like learning more about business, it's more so what do you want to know about business, and you can research into that. As I said before, there's companies that have online like case studies that you can read through. I mean, if you're really, really interested, look at articles and look at what people are saying about the current market, stuff like that. And looking into what people are already talking about, the trends in business, stuff like that. I think that's where you develop the interest in business. Oftentimes people think that they really like something. Like I know I had a lot of friends that were like, yeah, I love business. But then they got introduced to something like robotics and they're like, this is my stuff. Like, this is like mine. Like, this is what I love doing. And it's all about kind of exploring, right? So good resources to learn about business. You can look at articles that are written about business, certain specific topics, and then that way you can kind of understand what you want to learn about. And then the other thing is networking. Just talk to as many people as you can. Do things like get involved with Nova. Like the fact that you guys are already here makes me really happy. The fact that there's people from like in grade 9, what was I doing? I wasn't very, very much involved because I didn't see the value in that, right? So understanding the value of being involved and talking to people is very important. And I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I had a question, but it's pretty vague. So do you have any tips for marketing for a product/service that's like completely new and there's no immediate competition? And like any tips on how to solidify your position in the market? I know it's a vague question, but any tips or tricks?
So she has a completely like an untapped market, like something that no one has done, right? How would we go about marketing that?
You know what you should do? Market research on that.
Yeah, you'd have to do market research. But it's very, very rare that there's something I mean, it's not that it's impossible. I guarantee that it's possible, but it's very rare that there's something that's not at least similar to what you're trying to do.
Grassroots marketing. So it's always about grassroots marketing essentially is all about trying new things. It's not essentially something that's been done before. So for example, I don't know if you guys been seeing the Reels ads on Instagram, Facebook. And it's just like those where you can't skip those. It's kind of like, there's like also things was they open up the Reese chocolate like very slowly. It's kind of like a new concept, right? Like you didn't really think about that before. Like those were like people have been making those videos on Instagram and stuff like that. And they were pretty hit. They're still around. And so Reese kind of took that concept and turned it into ads, right? So that's kind of like you can look into grassroots marketing. So I'm not sure if there's like a lot of. I know there's firms that do grassroots marketing. I don't know if there's like a lot that just focus just on that specific thing. So maybe look into a way to kind of automate that entire process. How do you come up with something new every time? That would be a cool technology if you can make that. That would be pretty awesome. But aside from that, you should really look into research like current marketing ways, what's being done right now. And if you think you've found something new, do your market research on that, because there could be something that was done in the past, and why isn't it around anymore? There could be a reason for that. So there's always this research is a big component when you're trying to do something new. Because remember, humans have been on Earth for like a long time. Or sorry, let's just talk about technology.
Get it. Okay. So it's like oftentimes there's things that they used to exist and they don't anymore. Exactly. So why is that, right? And I hope that helped. And I want to apologize again for going so fast before. Obviously, there's a big learning gap, and I should have been a bit slower. So I hope you guys are able to kind of weed out the important information from our presentation. Cool. Okay, so do you guys think that it's worth going into a marketing major in post-secondary? Making that type of decision in terms of post-secondary, you'd have to really like
sort of job market.
Not only is job market, because oftentimes, obviously they're in STEM and they're interested in stuff like entrepreneurship as well. I personally, like my personal take on knowledge is like I seek knowledge, right? Like I really like learning about things, right? And university, you're going to be learning. It's like, sure, you're in a marketing major, but you will have to take at least 1.5 credits in elective, meaning like 3 credits, 3 courses that are completely unrelated to your major, which is marketing. So understanding if marketing is really the thing you want to learn about. Awesome questions, guys. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. So going into a marketing major, I would recommend anything that you're passionate about. If you've done enough research on marketing, and if you like this presentation, you really wanted to learn more about marketing, I would say go ahead and go for it. If something that interests you. In terms of career outlook, a lot of people are worried about career outlook when they go into marketing, when they go into like something like, something that's not too, like people generally refrain from it. But the thing is that your career outlook is made by you and your own initiatives. The fact that you guys are involved in here means that you guys are probably most likely going to be involved in future initiatives, right? Being involved in various things, not only things like this, but various clubs, various sports, stuff like that. You'll see that you meet a lot of people, and meeting people, networking, it'll open up opportunities for you. So don't really worry about career outlook, because oftentimes you'll make your path. But do you want to learn that kind of stuff? Like, are you interested in that enough to study it and to understand it and to kind of, teach it maybe even? I know people that have PhDs and they want to be professors and teach it to students, stuff like that. So it comes down to you, right? What you really want. And oftentimes that'll be really clouded, but you have to step into it and kind of explore in order to understand what you really want. Just don't be scared. It sounds like it's very stressful, but you'll get through it for sure. Like opportunities open up and they change the entire course of your life. So just look forward to that. Any other questions?
I think those are all the questions. Oh.
No worries.
Did someone have a question?
Yeah, that's it. We can wrap up.
Okay, let's wrap up. So thank you so much, Genzup, Hamad, and Anmol for coming and giving this presentation. I know it'll be really helpful for these guys, especially considering it's a marketing competition. And I'll share all that information with them on our platform, and any opportunities you guys can send my way as well. And
yeah, for sure. Give us like I said before, like we're looking for interns in terms of various things. Like we get so caught up in business initiatives that we realize that we need like a digital marketing intern. We need things like that. Even though that's our specialty, we still need things done, right?
Yeah.
So we have opportunities open for youth, and we're looking to start a new venture with Genzup Youth and kind of getting people that like you guys involved, and just opening opportunities for you guys. So keep an eye out for that. And if there's any questions, feel free to DM us, stuff like that. But other than that, like I think you guys are on the right track. Being involved in Nova, it's really great. So keep going.
Awesome. Thank you. And thanks everyone for joining us for this meeting. It's gonna stop.
All right, guys.